Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're digging into Build a Business You Love. It's the new book from Dave Ramsey, just out April 15th, 2025.
That's right. A big name in personal finance, now tackling the business world again.
Exactly. And this isn't, just any business book. We're looking at what feels like a really personal roadmap for entrepreneurs from someone who's, actually done it.
Yeah, he's built quite the operation. And the book really centers on what he calls the Entre Leadership System.
Entre Leadership System.
It's basically his blueprint, outlining the stages, the mindset shifts, everything needed to grow from, say, a small hustle into something bigger, something values-driven.
And it's based on his own story, right?
Yeah.
Taking Ramsey solutions from, his living room.
Pretty much. From a card table in his living room, he says, to a $250 million company. So it's grounded in that journey.
Okay, so our mission for you listening today is to really pull out the key takeaways from this book so you can get a quick handle on Ramsey's approach, especially if you're maybe feeling a bit lost and looking for some structure, some purpose in your own business journey.
Makes sense. He definitely offers structure.
So before we get into the nuts and bolts of the system, let's just touch on that background again. He's known for finance advice, but he did build this huge company.
Right.
Does the book actually translate that experience well? Is it practical for, the average person starting out, or is it more looking back from the mountaintop?
That's a really good question. And I think, it does translate. It's not just theory. It feels very much grounded in what he actually went through.
Okay.
It's got that signature Ramsey style, values-based, really practical. He's essentially saying, here's the framework I use.
Right. He's not just talking about it. He's showing the path he took.
Exactly.
And the core of that path, the real backbone of this book, seems to be these 5 distinct stages he says every entrepreneur goes through.
The 5 stages. That's central.
Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. What are these stages, and why are they so fundamental to his whole idea of building a business you actually, love?
Okay, so he lays out a pretty clear progression. First up, stage 1 is the treadmill operator.
Treadmill operator. I think I know some of those.
Yeah, probably. It's the founder who's doing literally everything, answering phones, packing boxes, making the coffee, the whole deal. The one-person circus phase, as you said.
Totally. Feels very familiar.
Then you hopefully evolve into the pathfinder. This is where you start finding your direction, getting clear on the mission, and crucially, building that initial team. Starting to delegate.
Okay, so moving beyond doing everything yourself.
Right. Stage 3 is the trailblazer. Now you're really innovating. You're learning to delegate effectively, not just dump tasks. And you're building the core systems, the processes that let things run smoother.
That sounds like where things start to scale, maybe.
Yeah, that's where the foundation for real growth gets laid. Then comes peak performer. Stage 4. This is about operational excellence, optimizing everything, really hitting your stride.
Running like a well-oiled machine.
Kind of, yeah. And finally, the 5th stage, the legacy builder. This is the long view, creating lasting impact, figuring out how to maybe step back a bit from the day-to-day grind, and really cementing the company culture.
Wow, okay. That's quite the journey from treadmill operator to legacy builder.
It really is. And what's fascinating, he points out, is that each stage throws different challenges at you.
Right.
You need different skills, you need to think differently, and you need different kinds of systems to support you at each point. It's not just getting bigger, it's actually evolving.
Yeah, I can see that. And I bet for you listening, you can probably already see yourself or your business somewhere on that path. Maybe feeling stuck on that treadmill right now.
It's very relatable.
So keeping that 5-stage framework in mind, let's talk about what works really well in this book. What are the big strengths? If someone picks this up, what's going to really resonate or be super helpful?
Well, one thing that definitely stands out is the authentic storytelling.
Okay.
Ramsey shares his own story, from the early days doing financial counseling right up to leading this big company. And it feels very honest, grounded. He talks about the struggles, the mistakes.
He doesn't just paint a picture of constant success.
Not at all. And that's powerful, I think.
Yeah.
He's open about his missteps, which kind of busts that myth that building a business is this smooth upward climb.
Yeah, that's refreshing. It makes it feel more achievable somehow. If the guy telling you how to do it admits he messed up too.
Exactly. It builds trust. It makes you think, okay, maybe I can get through this rough patch too. That vulnerability is actually a huge strength.
I agree. And paired with that, you mentioned practicality earlier. The clear, actionable advice seems like another big plus.
Definitely. It's not just stories and concepts. He gives you checklists, like for each stage. Things like hiring tips, simple budgeting frameworks, ideas for leadership training.
Even succession planning
Yeah.
towards the end stages.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a blueprint you can actually use and, adapt to your own situation, not just high-level theory.
So practical steps you can take Monday morning.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And linking back to his core philosophy, he constantly weaves in values, culture, and mission.
Right. The why behind the what.
Precisely. He keeps emphasizing that real success isn't just about the bottom line. It's about loving what you're building, making sure it aligns with your personal values, and building a team culture around that mission.
That definitely feels like classic Ramsey. It's not just about making money, it's about how you make it and why.
That thread runs through the entire book.
And one more practical point, the length. Achievable scale, you could call it. It's, 224 pages?
Yeah, it's not some massive academic tome.
Right. Which is great for busy entrepreneurs, right? You get depth, but it's concise, digestible, you don't feel overwhelmed.
Absolutely. It feels approachable, not intimidating.
Okay, so lots of strengths, honesty, practical steps, values, digestible format. But like you said, no book is perfect for everyone. It's about the right fit.
True.
Where might this book maybe fall a bit short? Who might read this and think, this isn't quite what I need? Especially thinking about different types of businesses out there today.
That's a fair point. For some people, especially those in, say, really hyper-competitive tech spaces or maybe trying to scale globally really fast, the system might feel a bit too simplified, maybe even a little optimistic.
Like it doesn't capture the sheer complexity or brutality of some markets.
Potentially, yeah. Some readers are definitely going to want deeper dives into financial modeling or more advanced, maybe aggressive growth strategies, and that's not really a focus here.
Got it. And what about the structure itself? You mentioned the stages earlier.
Right. Structurally, because each stage is covered quite distinctly, it can feel a little episodic, almost like separate mini-guides.
So the transitions between stages might feel a bit abrupt.
Yeah, potentially. Some readers might want a more seamless, integrated flow through the whole growth journey. It can feel a little disjointed moving from one section to the next.
Yeah, and industry specifics. Does the advice land equally well for, say, a local bakery versus a software company?
That's another area, limited industry nuance. The advice is pretty broad, which is a strength in one way, but
it might miss the specific challenges of certain sectors.
exactly. If you're in manufacturing with complex supply chains or heavily regulated finance, or maybe fast-moving e-commerce,
Yeah.
you might find the advice a bit too general sometimes. It doesn't always dig into the unique constraints or opportunities of those specific fields.
So that raises a good point for you, the listener. You need to think if this broad, values-driven framework fits the specific contours of your industry.
Absolutely. It's about knowing if the approach resonates with your particular context.
Okay, so we've looked at the strengths, the storytelling, the practical advice, the values,
Yeah.
and the potential limitations, maybe simplicity, the episodic feel, industry nuance. Given all that, who is this book really for? Who's the ideal reader who's going to pick this up and think, yes, this is exactly what I needed?
Well, it seems really tailored for a few groups. Definitely solopreneurs and small business owners who are feeling a bit stuck or overwhelmed and want that structured roadmap for growth.
People maybe in those first couple of stages, treadmill operator, pathfinder.
Yeah, very much so. Also, I think creative or mission-driven leaders, people who maybe aren't naturally drawn to dense spreadsheets and corporate jargon, but they want solid guidance on building something meaningful.
Makes sense. Guidance with heart, maybe.
Right, and of course, existing fans of Dave Ramsey's style. If you appreciate his values-based, practical, no-nonsense approach to finance, you'll likely find this very familiar and helpful for business. It's grounded in his experience.
Someone who trusts his perspective already.
Exactly. And finally, I'd say it's for anyone looking to scale consciously. People who care just as much about purpose and culture as they do about profit. They want to grow, but grow the right way according to their values.
So it sounds like the final verdict, drawing from the sources, is pretty positive, but with those caveats we mentioned.
I think so.
It's described as like a warm, genuine, actionable guide, coming from a mentor who clearly cares about more than just the money. He lays out those 5 stages with, clarity, that honesty we talked about, and this kind of steady moral compass guiding it all.
Yeah, that comes through strongly.
So maybe it's not the most technically deep business book on the shelf, but perhaps that's intentional.
I think that's exactly right. It's not trying to be that.
It focuses on those practical steps, that relatable wisdom, the values-first perspective, making it perhaps a really reliable companion if you're out there trying to build something meaningful and you want both structure and heart in how you do it.
Well said. A reliable companion that feels accurate.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've unpacked Dave Ramsey's Build a Business You Love. We've explored his 5 stages of entrepreneurial growth, from that treadmill operator all the way to legacy builder. And we've tried to understand its unique mix of, practical advice on one hand and this strong values first philosophy on the other.
Yeah, and this deep dive really highlights that Ramsey's approach, it isn't aiming to be the most complex or academic business strategy guide.
Right, that's not the goal.
And that's by design, I believe. It's focused squarely on practical steps anyone can start thinking about, wisdom drawn from his own ups and downs, and keeping those core values front and center.
It's accessible.
It is. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how he positions success. It's not just hitting a revenue target. It's about the journey itself being rooted in purpose and genuine passion for what you're creating.
Loving what you build, as the title says.
So as you listening, reflect on your own business, or maybe the one you're dreaming of starting. Here's a final thought to consider. If loving what you build truly is the ultimate measure of success, what adjustments, big or small, might you need to make on your current path? How can you ensure your business genuinely reflects your heart and your values?